Hare Krishna, thank you for joining. We can make a start. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jai Gopijana Vallabha Jayo Giravardhari Jai Gopijana Vallabha
Turn it down.
It's just come on.
Yashodanandana Vrajjana Ranjana Shodanandana Vrajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Agyantimirmasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Staptam Yena Bhutle Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatamitam Tam Sajim Sadhuetam Savadutam Krishna Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Din Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sutadevi Pranmami Haripriye Pancha Kalpatu Brihascha Kirpa Sindhu Bevacha Patitana Pavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Parcharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasdi Gaur Bhakt Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Hukum Groti Vachalam Pangum Langitigram Yat Kirpata Mandashi Gurundir Taranam Paramananda Madham Chitaneshram Hariyam Tassat Narayan Namaskritya Naram Cheva Naruttam Devim Sasvati Vyasam Tato Jemaduriyat Nasta Paresho Avtaresho Nityam Bhavaseva Bhagavati Uttam Shlakte Bhaktir Bhavati Nestiki. Okay, Hare Krishna. So, last time we were talking about the power of association and how when you put a metal rod in fire, it becomes like fire, Srila Prabhupada explains. And the strength of Maya, how Maya is very strong, that even affected Parikshit Maharaj, his exalted personality, and his shown here that even he was illusioned for a while as a warrior. He was overtaken by thirst, and then he felt insulted, although he was beyond all these things, and he could tolerate these things, but at that time, he just lost all equanimity of mind. He lost his composure, and then he later on regretted his decisions that he made at the time. And we do that all the time, don't we? We do regret saying things, doing things we shouldn't have at the time. That is, we are ordinary human beings. That was Maharaj Parikshit, and we have compared him to so many big personalities, to Ram, and even he says that he's close to Krishna, and Maharaj Shibi, and Ranti Dev. So many personalities he has been compared to Maharaj Yudhishthira, and yet even he was overtaken by Maya. So Maya is that strong, and as I was saying, that we have to keep our consciousness in check by using our intelligence. Very important that we use our intelligence, use our spiritual intelligence to keep our consciousness clear, but at the same time, we have to protect our intelligence as well. So like intelligence is the bodyguard of our consciousness, but the bodyguard needs protection as well. And how do we protect our intelligence? By not exposing ourselves to the environments where our intelligence is in threat. So we don't do things that will affect, will weaken our intelligence. We don't take association of such matter or such people that will weaken our intelligence. Association is very strong, whether it's material on the internet or in association with people face to face. We have to be very careful that we keep our intelligence strong, because if we weaken our intelligence, then if the bodyguard's weak, what chance has the consciousness got? Not much. So we have to self-aware. We can't just rely on intelligence. We have to protect, as a living entity, we have to protect the intelligence as well. It's very important that we protect ourselves. So today we are on verse 25. Dhritya bali samha Krishne paharat iva sadgraha aharatesho ashvam danam vridhanam paryapasakaha. So Dhritya, by patience, Bali Samha, like Bali Maharaj, Krishna, onto Lord Krishna, Praharat, Prahlad, Maharaj, so that's Prahlad Maharaj, Praharat, Eve, like Satgraha, devotee of Aharata, performer, Aisha, this child, Ashvamedha Nam, of Ashvamedha sacrifices, Vridhanam, of the old and experienced man, Paripasakaha, follower. So the Brahmins have been describing the qualities of Maharaj Parikshit. He's just born, and those of you weren't here, so he's been describing the qualities. They have been describing the qualities of Maharaj Parikshit, or the future king, and to Maharaj Yudhishthira and all others, and they have described him to so many personalities. Now he says, this child will be like Bali Maharaj in patience. So he's got the qualities of all the exalted devotees. A staunch devotee of Lord Krishna like Prahlad Maharaj. Wow. This child will be like Bali Maharaj in patience, a staunch devotee of Lord Krishna like Prahlad Maharaj, a performer of many Ashwamedha whole sacrifices, and a follower of the old and experienced men. So just astounding how many personalities he has been compared to, this Maharaj Parikshit. So Bali Maharaj, just to explain who Bali Maharaj is, one of the 12 authorities in devotion service of the Lord. Bali Maharaj is a great authority in devotional service because he sacrificed everything to please the Lord and relinquished the connection of his so-called spiritual master who obstructed him on the path of risking everything for the service of the Lord. The highest perfection of religious life is to attain to the stage of unqualified devotional service of the Lord without any cause or without being obstructed by any kind of worldly obligation. Bali Maharaj was determined to give up everything for the satisfaction of the Lord, and he did not care for any obstruction whatsoever. Even his spiritual master, he did not care because he was being an obstruction. He is the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj, another authority in the devotional service of the Lord. Bali Maharaj and the history of his dealings with Vishnu, Vamandev are described in the 8th canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, chapter 11 to 24. So Prahlad Maharaj also, which we all know about, a perfect devotee of Lord Krishna. His father Hiranyakashipu chastised him severely when he was only 5 years old for his becoming an unalloyed devotee of the Lord. He was the first son of Hiranyakashipu, and his mother name was Kayadu. Prahlad Maharaj was an authority in the devotional service of the Lord because he had his father killed by Lord Narasimhadev, setting the example that even a father should be removed from the path of devotional service if such a father happens to be an obstacle. It's not recommended we kill our parents, but if they are being impediment, we can stop communicating on these matters with them. Simple as that. He had 4 sons, and the eldest son, Virochan, is the father of Bali Maharaj. So that's the son of Prahlad. He had 4 sons, and his eldest son was Virochan, who was father of Bali Maharaj, mentioned above. The history of Prahlad Maharaj's activities is described in the 7th canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So, if there's anything to add, I can say. So, follower of experienced men means learning from those who are wise. So, Maharaj Parikshit has been described as a follower of experienced men. So, means that learning from those who are wise, who have learned, who have wisdom. Bali Maharaj was prepared to give up anything in the service of the Lord. He didn't care for any instructions like his spiritual master in the way. Yeah, one can reject the instruction of the spiritual master as well, which deviates one from the surrender of the Supreme Lord. So here, first we talk about the father. If he's an obstruction, we can refuse him, listen to him. And even a spiritual master, like described here, Bali Maharaj, spiritual master, if he's been an obstruction to bhakti, he can also be rejected. So anyone can be rejected, and you don't get much more closer than a father or a spiritual master who's also like a father, and father is also like a spiritual master. So they can be both rejected if you find that they are taking you away from Krishna. It's not that you must listen to them no matter what they say. Okay, 26. Raj Rishinam Janyita Shasta Kotpat Gaminam. Shasta Chotpat Gaminam Nigraita Kale Esha Bhuvo Dharmasya Karanat. So Raj Rishinam, of kings as good as sages, Janyata, producer, Shasta, chastiser, Cha, and Utpat Gaminam, of the upstarts, Nigrahita, molester, Kalhe, of the quarrelsome, Aisha, this, Bhuva, of the world, dharmasya of religion, kar not on account of. So this child will be the father of kings, who will be like sages. For world peace and for the sake of religion, he will be the chastiser of the upstarts and the quarrelsome. So Maharaj Parikshit had this fear factor that he could, if he want some put fear in someone, he had the ability to do that. The wisest man in the world is a devotee of the Lord. The sages are called wise men, and there are different types of wise men for different branches of knowledge. Unless, therefore, the king or the head of the state is the wisest man, he cannot control all types of wise men in the state. So he must be smarter than them. Srila Prabhupada mentioned that when I come to the Western world, I understood that these people were very, very intelligent, very smart. So I had to be smarter than them for them to listen to me. Otherwise, why would they listen to him? He said he had to prepare to be more smarter than them. So they would follow him. In the line of royal succession in the family of Maharaj Yudhishthira, all the kings without exception were the wisest men of their times. And so also it is foretold by Maharaj Parikshit and his son Maharaj Janamejaya, who was yet to be born. Such wise kings can become chastisers of upstarts and uprooters of Kali, or quarrelsome elements, as will be clear in the chapters ahead. So Maharaj Parikshit wanted to kill the personified Kali, who was attempting to kill a cow, the emblem of peace and religion. The symptoms of Kali are wine, women, gambling, and slaughterhouses. And if anybody who was, I think Neeta Mataji was there in the class yesterday. So we were discussing that although these things can be seen as obstruction to our enjoyment, to our lives, like a restriction. But Srila Prabhupada explains that by giving you these four things, or restrictions of these wine, women, gambling, and slaughterhouse, or meat eating, I'm not restricting you, I'm restricting Maya. Maya is the cause of all suffering. So I'm restricting Maya to attack you. If you don't do these four things, which are considered sinful activities anyway in the scriptures, I am restricting Maya taking over you. So don't surrender to Maya. When you are doing these things, then you're surrendering to Maya, and which is not conducive for your bhakti. And this came about because someone asked Prabhupada that what do you people give up as Krishna consciousness people? And Prabhupada explained, we give up suffering. That's what we do. We give up suffering. Then explained, by giving up these four things, we automatically give up suffering. And we give up these four things so we can give up suffering. So wise rulers of all states should take lessons from Maharaj Parikshit in how to maintain peace and morality by subduing the upstarts and quarrelsome people who indulge in wine, illicit connection with women, gambling and meat eating, supplied by regularly maintained slaughterhouses. In this age of Kali, regular license is issued for maintaining all these different departments of quarrel. So how can they expect peace and morality in the state? The state fathers, therefore, must follow the principles of becoming wiser by devotion to the Lord. So not surrender to Maya, surrender to the Lord. By chastising the breaker of discipline and by uprooting the symptoms of quarrel, as mentioned above. If we want blazing fire, we must use dry fuel. Blazing fire and moist fuel go ill together. So the fire is always blazing, but if the fuel like wood is wet, then what good is a blazing fire? It cannot do nothing for the wood. The wood has to be dry for the fire to ignite it. And that's like us. We as wood should be dry, ready to take the fire and become fire as well. Peace and morality can prosper only by the principles of Maharaj Parikshit and his followers. Amazing. So 26, that is, so we should not be embarrassed or shy to learn from others, especially if it's for the service of Krishna. So everyone is a guru. The Tattva explains later on in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam that he had so many gurus, even a spider was a guru, even a prostitute was a guru. You can learn by, from their mistakes even, you can learn from them that what is right or wrong. Everyone is a guru. Maharaj Parikshit was wise because he took advice from the wise people. Maharaj Parikshit was the chastiser of those who were bringing Kali into the environment. The 4 directive principles that we follow are based on the symptoms of Kali. No intoxication, no gambling, no meat eating, no illicit relationships. By following these, the devotees are rising above the influence of Kali. So we are taking ourselves away from Maya. Actually, we are taking ourselves not away, out of that department. We're in a totally different stage, you could say, or style of lifestyle that we no longer associate with those things, and we can rise in our spirituality, in our mode. We can go into the mode of goodness, which is the best for bhakti. Otherwise, in passion, you don't have the time or the inclination, and in the mode of ignorance, you don't even know who you are anymore. You've got addictions, you're lazy, you don't get up in the mornings like that. You don't know from right from wrong anymore. But mode of goodness is where you are like seeking knowledge, and especially spiritual knowledge, because you're in the right state of mind, right state of body. You no longer hangover in the morning, you're drinking, or you got relationships which are just causing you problems, and gambling is everybody, that's like a obvious one, everybody knows, and meat eating is considered sinful as well. So avoid these sins, and we can be happy by avoiding sins, and when we are happy, we'll be more inclined to, our mind will be more stable to learn. So this is how we introduce peace and morality, and no doubt Kali is not happy. So when we are happy, Kali is not happy. It's always opposite. When Kali is happy, we'll definitely not be happy, because Kali is only happy when we are unhappy. Okay, let's go to the next one. Daksha kad atmano mrityum Dvij putro pasajitat prapatasyata upashritya mukt sangha padam harhe. So Takshakat, by the snake bird, Takshak that was, and Atmana, of his personal self, Mrityum, death, Dvij Putra, the son of a Brahman, Upsarjitat, being sent by, Prapatsayate, having taken shelter of, Upashritva, after hearing, Mukta Sangha, freed from all attachment, Padam, position, Hare, of the Lord. So after hearing about his death, which will be caused by the bite of a snake bird sent by a son of a Brahman, he will get himself freed from all material attachment and surrender unto the personal Godhead, taking shelter of him, which we all know about. This is how Bhagavatam came about, and so it was already predicted. It was destined for this to happen to him, and so it could not be avoided. But some good outcome would come out of it as well. So Maharaj Parikshit had to sacrifice himself for this outcome. And the Pandavas, they were the devotees of the Lord, and they always accepted the Lord's will, whatever it will be. So material attachment and taking shelter of the Lord's feet of the Lord go ill together. The two opposites. Material attachments means ignorance of transcendental happiness under the shelter of the Lord. Devotional service to the Lord while existing in the material world is a way to practice one's transcendental relation with Lord. And when it is matured, one gets completely free from all material attachments, becomes competent to go back home, back to Godhead. So Maharaj Parikshit, being especially attached to the Lord from the beginning of his body in the womb of his mother, was continuously under the shelter of the Lord. And the so-called warning of his death within 7 days from the date of the curse by the Brahmana's son was a boon to him to enable him to prepare himself to go back home, back to Godhead. Since he was always protected by the Lord, he could have avoided the effect of such a curse by the grace of the Lord. But he didn't take such undue advantage for nothing. Rather, he made the best use of a bad bargain. For 7 days continuously he heard Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from the right source, and thus he got shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord by that opportunity. So he found something bigger to focus on. So this is 27. So the sages are now telling about the events leading to Maharaj Parikshit's death, as we can see. And Yudhishthira Maharaj was focusing on the qualities of Maharaj Parikshit, thinking that death comes over everyone eventually. This is the Pandavas, this is how they think. It's material attachment that's stopping us going back to Godhead. These attachments give us pleasure. So they're thinking, if that's what's going to happen, then Krishna must have a plan. There must be a plan in all this. It wouldn't happen for no reason. These attachments give us pleasure, so we are engrossed that we do not realize that true happiness lies in the taking shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mercy of Srila Prabhupada will take us back to Godhead. And everything we got is mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj Parikshit turned the curse to an opportunity. He detached himself from material bondage. So he used that threat as an opportunity, or the weakness as his strength, and he heard Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam for 7 days. And so it shows that in every threat or in every reversal, there is an opportunity that we can use. Business people they use these things. When it seems like everything's going wrong, they sometimes use that. They go opposite the flow of the wind. If the wind is flowing this way, they go the opposite direction, and sometimes make a lot of money out of it. They need to know what they're doing. So in material life and spiritual life, use the opportunity for your better. You can use it to even improve yourself even more. Okay, and 28. So we'll do just this one. Jigyansitam atam yatharthyo Jigyasita atam yatharthyo mune vyas sutat asau hitvedam nirpa gangayam yasyati adha kuto bhayam. So jigyasita, inquiring, having inquired of atam yatha arthayaha, right knowledge of one's own self, mune, from the learned philosophers, Vyas Sutat, the son of Vyas, asau, he, hitva, quitting, idam, these material attachments, narpa, O king, Gangayam, on the bank of the Ganges, Yasyati, will go, Ada, directly, Akutha, Vayam, the life of fearlessness. Okay. So after inquiring about proper self-knowledge from the son of Vyasadeva, who will be a great philosopher. He will renounce all material attachment and achieve a life of fearlessness. So material knowledge means ignorance of the knowledge of one's own self. So if we don't know who we are, things we have this body and mind. Philosophy means to seek after the right knowledge of one's own self, or the knowledge of self-realization. We are spirit soul. So without self-realization, philosophy is dry, speculation, or a waste of time and energy. So what is the good of philosophy if you don't understand, where it's aimed at and what it's about? If you don't know who we are, we don't know who is God, and if we don't know what's our relationship, then philosophy is just dry words. It doesn't mean anything. It's not applied philosophy. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam gives the right knowledge of one's own self, and by hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, one can get free from material attachments and enter into the kingdom of fearlessness. This material world is fearfulness. We're always afraid of something. Its prisoners are always fearful, as within a prison house. Yeah, we have three types of miseries: Adi Bhautik, Adi Devik, Adi Atmik. They're always disturbing us, and one or all are always around the corner. So we live in fear all the time that we're going to get it. Adi Bhautik, danger from other people. You're going to get a phone call, or you're going to meet somebody who's going to annoy you today. Adi Atmik, your mind is disturbing today. Your body pains have returned. Right? Adi Devik, looking at the weather early on, snow is going to fall somewhere and it's going to get very cold. Like that, there's always some disturbance, always some disturbance. Its prisons are always fearful, as within a prison house. In the prison house, no one can violate the jail rules and regulations. And violating the rules means another term for extension of prison life. Similarly, we in this material existence are always fearful. This fearfulness is called anxiety. Everyone in the material life, in all species and varieties of life, is full of anxieties, either by breaking or without breaking the laws of nature. Because some things is dukhalam, ashashvatam, this material world, even when we don't break the laws, there's still some problems are still there, because it's a dukkha, it's a place of unhappiness. Liberation or mukti means getting relief from these constant anxieties. This is possible only when the anxiety is changed to the devotional service of the Lord. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam gives us a chance to change the quality of anxiety from matter to spirit. So this is interesting. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam gives us the chance to change the quality of anxiety. So anxieties we cannot get rid of. These anxieties are always there. But instead of taking anxiety for matter, we take the anxiety for spirit. It's not like you come to Krishna's consciousness and all problems will go away. It's a dukhalam. You are in prison. How can the problems go away? They will be there, but they will be different type of problems. Or we will look at the problems in a spiritual way. This is done in the association of learned philosophers like the self-realized Sukadeva Goswami, the grandson of Sri Vyasadeva. Sorry, I was going to say it can't be grand. The great son of Sri Vyasadeva. Maharaj Parikshit, after receiving warning of his death, took advantage of this opportunity by association with Sukadeva Goswami and achieved the desired result. So we're coming back to this now, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And so, like saying last week, that they really built up Maharaj Parikshit, and then they showed that he was replaced basically with Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which looks like greater than all personalities, because he's Lord himself. So there is a sort of imitation of the reciting and hearing of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam by professional men, and their foolish audience thinks that they will get free from the clutches of material attachment and attain the life of fearlessness. Such imitative hearing of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is a caricature only, and one should not be misled by such a performance of Bhagavatam-Sevayā undertaken by ridiculous, greedy fellows to maintain an establishment of material enjoyment. So, you can add something to this. Just a little bit here. Prabhupada had so much anxiety to spread Krishna consciousness. So he replaced anxiety. Mind's always going to be anxious. There's always problems going on. But if you focus on different kind of anxiety, then those other problems will seem a lot smaller, or they will be in the background, so to speak. So Srila Prabhupada had so much anxiety to spread Krishna consciousness, to publish his books, distribute his books, taking care of his devotees, anxiety of setting up new temples. This anxiety is wanted. So the problems are there, but they suddenly become very small when you take in anxiety. So get yourself busy in spirituality, and these problems, they're there, they're in the background, because anxieties are always there, but it's what we do with those anxieties, how we sort of tend to expand things in our mind anyway. So the example is like, say somebody cuts their finger and they're very anxious. I've cut my finger, this pain, this blood. But suddenly if they got a phone call saying your house has caught fire, it's burning down, they will forget the problem of the finger, right, straight away. That finger problem won't matter anymore, right? It'll be in the background. It's like that. So problems are there. It's what we are focusing on is the important thing. So if we consider spirituality to be more important, then the material problems will seem very small in comparison, because we won't be focusing on them. And spirituality is not only for this life, it's for life after life after life, or going back to Krishna consciousness, or back to Godhead. So that's more important. We have to take anxiety, but we take anxiety for that purpose. So thank you so much, and I don't know. Okay, we'll hear from Hina Mataji first of all. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. That's some really, really nice points covered in these verses. I think for me, I took away how the first verse around the wisest man. I really like that sentence. The wisest man the wisest man in the world is a devotee of the Lord. And I was thinking about how one is so fortunate to just get a drop of mercy through the Lord or through devotees, and they take advantage of the opportunity to pursue this knowledge and to understand it. That is, so it's a lifeline out of this temporary illusion, conditioned life. And then I really love it when Prabhupada makes reference to the best use of a bad bargain as well, and how I was thinking about how it's so easy to be pushed down, and in the material world generally, it's so easy to develop a negative mindset of the material life. But in the case of Maharaj Parikshit, who was cursed to die in 7 days, as we've seen, he saw that as an opportunity. He could see the opportunity in that curse. So no matter how bad things can get, there's always like a silver lining. There's in that cloud there's a silver lining which you just need to look for. And the analogy of the material world being a prison house is so appropriate, because we are under the control of Maya. They've got the three modes of material nature. And yeah, I think you talked about how the four regs, may appear on the surface as being restrictive, by people in general, but actually they free us. they bring us to the level of a human being, and they allow us to start devotional life. And that is the greatest opportunity, despite how bad things could be in the material world. The greatest opportunity is taking advantage of devotional life, and which has no material impediments whatsoever. So yeah, I think it's just kind of keeping focused on that, essentially. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna. Thanks so much, Mataji. Yeah, also we're discussing in the class yesterday that Srila Prabhupada mentions in his purport to verse 7.5 that these living entities are maintaining this material world. How are we maintaining this material world? We're not making the sunshine or the rains fall as we desire, or grow things that we want to grow, or anything like that. How can we maintain anything? We're just little specks. We're not maintaining anything. But what he means is that we're maintaining this material world, or he explains that it's like prisoners are maintaining a prison house. How can prisoners maintain a prison house? They are prisoners, they're locked up. So basically what they're saying, they're creating a need for the prisons. By creating the need for something, you're maintaining that establishment, that business. The customers are maintaining the business because the need is created. That's how in this material world we have so many material desires. That's why we come here into the material world. So we are maintaining it. If there's nobody left with material desires, Krishna, once it's highlighted, it doesn't have to rebuild it again. Say, oh well, there's nobody needs to come here. Now, why do we need to build this material world? But there is always a need to create it, because people need to come here and learn lessons, or do their time, and then hopefully go back home. Thank you, Mataji. Kiran Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I think Hina Mataji has covered many of those points already. I think this is also recognizing the significance of Parikshit to the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Without Parikshit, the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam would not have that significance. The fact that Parikshit had effectively a death sentence, 7 days and your life is over. And so this is something we need to bear in mind, the urgency of the task at hand. We do not have the comfort of lazing on the beach forever. The sands of time are accumulating so quickly that we don't have the opportunity to sunbathe top side and lower side and you name it, turn over and put the sun cream on all the time. Time is very short. And so Parikshit had those 7 days where he wanted to have those 6 questions answered. Versus there is that recognition of those 7 questions being answered, 6 questions being answered, or 5. And implicit in this is what Srila Prabhupada said. We're here to take away the suffering of mankind. We're here implicitly to take away the suffering of each individual. By engaging in the 4 regulatory principles, no consumption of alcohol, no illicit sex, no drugs, and no gambling. That takes away a lot of sins. You can bet your bottom dollar that takes away a lot of sins. If your eyes are just focused on one person, if you refrain from buying a lottery ticket, even getting a lottery ticket is gambling. If you remain from just one drink, that's part of the journey. And then, there are many intoxicants, drugs as well. But thankfully, most Vaishnavas are free from all these vices. These all contribute to misery and bewilderment. And Arjun was a pure devotee, but he was, in spite of having these vices, was still bewildered. We get bewildered in the material world all the time because Kali, Maya are very, very enticing. They're very intoxicating, and they will clutch us before you know it. And hence, we have to make the right associations with the right people to get the right information and the right wisdom to find the right path. The right path is what the Bhagavad-Gita, the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and the Chaitanya Chamrita, and all Prabhupada's literature illustrate. We are on that right journey. It may take a while, but we're on those that wisdom. And who knows, journey's end may not be that far away. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you for your comments. And anybody else like to add anything? We haven't spoken. Okay, we go to Radharani.
Hare Krishna, everyone. My pranams to all of you. I would just like to add today that we have been told again in these verses that we have to seek the right realizations, and that is the only way we will be able to get some self-realizations, not on the material side, from the scriptures itself, and also that the spiritual anxiety should take the, should supersede the material anxiety. Because material anxieties will be always there, but we have to, deal with them as we live day-to-day lives. But if we have some spiritual anxiety, then no matter what is happening, we will take some time out to nurture the spiritual side of our life. And also that the devotional service is the only thing which leads to the fearlessness. It's very difficult for us to imagine, but the scriptures say, so we believe it, that slowly we will become fearless in our life if we keep following the learnings from these scriptures from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And the association of great philosophers in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, they will help us in replacing our material anxieties with the spiritual ones. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's not easy, and it's a long journey, but we keep striving for it. And main thing is to keep a check on Maya, and know the difference now, which is Maya and which is spirituality, and keep our consciousness strong, our intelligence strong, and move forward. This month of Kartik, do a little bit more endeavor and to strengthen our bhakti. So thank you all so much. Krishna Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Prem Nande, Hari Hari.
Hari Bol.
See you all Wednesday.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.